Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Fairy Tail episode 288, To the Godforsaken Land, it's called, yeah. When we last left off, Natsu and the gang had an encounter with Brandish Mew, who shrunk Caracol Island down to the size of, like, her foot. It was really tiny. And then was like, stay out of Alakatasia. And Natsu, of course, did not listen to that. And they took a trip on an underwater temple with Serrano to Alakatasia, to the Alvarez capital. Meanwhile, Makarov was in Alakatasia and learned, in the Alvarez capital, I should say, and learned that Emperor Spriggan was Zareth. Had a meeting with Zareth, and Zareth was like, yeah, the only reason we haven't killed y'all is because we haven't felt like it yet. And he goes to kill Makarov right as Mest shows up at the last second to save Makarov. Cue end episode. And moving on to this review, before we get the review started, I should say, I have my anime review straw poll for the winter season in the description down below. Please check that out. Tell me what you want me to review next season. And yeah, then come back and watch the video. So, moving on to the review proper. We open with Makarov breaking down in tears, realizing that everything he's been trying to do for the past year has been a failure. You know, he disbanded Fairy Tail, and he never even had a chance of stopping Alvarez. Everything has been for naught. And the gang, of course, is not willing to let him wallow in his self-pity. And everyone comforting Makarov after all the shit he's been through is super sweet. It melted my heart. It was great. But as they're all comforting Makarov, we have a new member of the 12 who we briefly met last week, Agil, the desert user, who shows up ready to kick ass. Unlike Brandish, who was like, get the fuck out of here. Agil's like, you're gonna fucking die. All throughout this, once Natsu lays eyes on Agil, he clutches the bandages on his arm. Pay very close attention to that. That'll be very important later on. I'm not gonna spoil what it is. But anyway, after that, the gang all gets in a magic mobile because Mest is conveniently only has enough strength for one more teleportation, and he wants to save that for Serrano. Even though I think it would make more sense for him to, like, get away from Agil in the short term, rather than, like, use it later. You know, find another way to get to Serrano, or escape Agil and then rest before teleporting down to Serrano's temple. But whatever. The chase sequence is fun. It's well paced. But there isn't really a whole lot to go to it, primarily because they're on a vehicle, and so Urza's driving the vehicle, and the only people who can really fight are Makarov, who doesn't, for some reason, who believes that they don't have a chance against Alvarez anyways, just focus on running and not trying to fight, and Gray and Lucy, who do get a few cool hits out. We see a new star dress from Lucy, her Sagittarius star dress, and a new attack from Gray that he named after Silver. My fucking heart. The Silver versus Gray is like the highlight of all of Fairy Tail to me. Nothing tops that fucking fight. The moment where, like, Gray goes to, like, strike down Silver, you know, even if you're my dad, you're still an enemy of Fairy Tail, and it gets, like, halfway there, and he breaks down, but I can't kill you, you're my father. My heart, every fucking time. Every fucking time I watch that scene. Tears streaming. It's a beautiful moment. It's, like, the best moment in the show, and so having him named his new attack, like, instantly freezes Agil's sand monster after Silver. Oh, God bless my heart. Oh, God. But all of that is for naught, showing us just how strong the Spriggan 12 are. And Agil uses this spell called, I think it's like Antlion Pit. This is just this giant quicksand pit. And everyone is, like, being sucked down, and all hope is lost. And then Natsu lets out this giant flame that, like, evaporates the sand, which I wasn't too fond of, I guess. It just seemed like, why struggle for so long if he could have done that the whole time? But whatever. It's a minor thing. It's fine. But during all this, Agil, before Natsu evaporates the sand or whatever, Agil goes in this whole rant, you know, Ishgar is a land forsaken by the gods because they have no strength, and Alvarez will come in and wipe them the fuck out. You'll all be under the control of Alvarez, yada yada yada. After Natsu gets out, he has this like classic fairy tale badass boast, oh, we've been forsaken by the gods. Well, fairy tale is still around, and like it's kind of cheesy, but like it's classic fairy tale, and I love it. I love fairy tale. But all of that boasting is for naught as Agil like rises up this gigantic like sand tsunami that will not only cover them in sand but also like drain the moisture out of them like it's like he's Crocodile from One Piece. And Makarov has like gone into his giant form and is about to give his life to like protect Team Natsu, I should say. And it's suitably, dramatic. It's really like building up the oh shit, is Makarov about to die here? Back when this part first came out of the manga, I actually like highly theorized that they would not save Makarov here. So when I was reading this, 3-4 years ago now, I was like, yeah, this is where Makarov dies. But it is not, as Loxus, my utter son, comes in clutch, raining lightning down from the heavens, and Mest uses his last teleportation to get the gang on the Blue Pegasus ship Christina that has been decked out to make it safe for Dragon Slayers, which is a cool thing. I don't quite know why Blue Pegasus would have a Dragon Slayer-proof ship, given that there are no Dragon Slayers in Blue Pegasus, or any Slayers of any kind, I think. So it's kind of weird they'd have that, but whatever. I accept it. They're old friends with Fairy Tail at this point. I understand why they would have a Fairy Tail helping ship. So yeah. And just like that, they've escaped. For now. Agil survives. He survives the gigantic lightning strike Loxus throws at him. We see he's protected in a barrier by August, but Agil's convinced that he would have survived anyway. We don't get to find out, but he probably would have, because he's a Spriggan 12, and he's not going to die like that. Anyway, then the gang goes back home, and we're treated to a classic Fairy Tail bar scene, which of course I'm always fond of, because as I said before, I love the cast of Fairy Tail. They're one of my all-time favorite shonen casts. But this time, it's tinged with this ever-present sense of unease about the looming war. They all know, sure, they've got Makarov back for now, but like Alvarez and Zareth are coming. They don't have a lot of hope left. It's been said a lot these past 10, 11 episodes now. Treasure the fun times we have because darkness is coming, and like this is one of those moments that is really, really heavy on the treasure the fun times we have now, because the war is at our gates, and the war is going to carry us through to the end. And Natsu, after Makarov is warning everyone of the horrors to come, Natsu gets this great speech about slipped my mind. About how we're not. This isn't just some battle, some fight we're going to. It's like do or die time. We're not fighting to win. We're fighting to live. It's a great speech. I wish I had not watched the episode 8 hours ago and forgotten the bulk of it. But shut up. Anyway, it's a classic Natsu rousing the troops to action speech. But I love myself a classic Natsu rousing the troops to action speech, so I can't complain. After that, Makarov decides that the gang is going to fight to protect Lumen Histoire. They better know what Lumen Histoire is. And he's right about to get into the whole backstory of Fairy Heart when the projection of Mavis shows up, ready to tell the truth herself. And it's finally here. Mavis and Zareth, next week's episode, is probably my favorite backstory in all of Fairy Tail. There is nothing that comes close to Mavis and Zareth, and I'll go into much more detail next week. I also think next week is the episode I'll finally be able to lay out my Prex theory. I think that comes with a Mavis and Zareth flashback. I'm pretty sure, but I'll get into all my Prex theory and Mavis and Zareth all next week. You will see that in full laid outness. But yeah, my favorite backstory is finally here. Next week is going to be legendary. Make sure you do not miss next week's episode. It's going to be, for one thing, it's going to contextualize the entire coming arc. Also, it's just some great fucking backstory. But yeah, anyway, in the end, this was a fairly decent episode. It wasn't exceptional or anything. It had some great moments, Ice makes Silver, Loxus getting his big damn heroes moment with the lightning bolt. With the lightning bolts. And yet another reminder of just the intense power of the Spriggans. However, given what's coming both next week and in the weeks afterwards, this is not going to be one of those episodes that people remember in a year from now. It's an important step in the overall narrative, but mainly it's an important step in that now our heroes can regroup and get ready for the coming battle. But next week, an episode that everyone will remember in a year from now, Mavis and Zareth. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the video and the episode. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Fill out that straw poll down below, please. Or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!